Hi guys, so in this video we are going to plant some Anubias immersed in soil without water. So let's get started. So I have quite a lot of Anubias that has overgrown some of my tanks, and these bushes are just too large. This is Anubias barteri and it's kind of unshapely, so you can see it grows in all sorts of directions. So it needs to be propagated, and I want to plant it immersed, so it's going to grow without water. This is also Anubias barteri, and as you can see, it wasn't doing very well in water. Some of its leaves were coming out of water and they were getting burned by the lighting, so it doesn't look very healthy. Also quite a bit of black bird in here, but quite a large bush. And I also have here this small Anubias gracilis plant, which wasn't also doing very well underwater, so I'm going to see if it's going to grow better without water. So because these Anubias plants, they've been previously growing in my fish tanks, they've been underwater. While we are working with them, they need to be sprinkled with water from time to time to keep them wet, to keep them from drying up. So what do we need? I have here a small fish tank, and you can use any kind of potting mix. I don't have a potting mix, so I'm using coconut fiber mix, which is used for potting plants as well, and it's quite nice and it's nutritious and full of nutrients. I didn't add too much of it, so I have about this layer of coconut fiber soil in here, which I hope should be sufficient. Basically, you can use any kind of transparent container. You can use a plastic container, plastic storage containers, as long as they're more or less transparent, and as long as light can penetrate either through the lid or through the walls. But of course, fish tank is better because it's all transparent. I'm not sure if this fish tank is large enough for all of these Anubias. We are going to see. Maybe I'm going to plant only some of them here, or I'm going to plant them temporarily, and later on, if all goes well, I'm going to move them into a larger container. So first, we need to propagate Anubias. A rule of thumb that you generally need to make cuts on the rhizome, and rhizome is this part here. All the leaves or roots are on this rhizome part. So you need to cut a part of rhizome with approximately 4 to 5 leaves on it in order for it to be able to regrow back. In the same way, you can propagate Anubias if you grow it underwater. So we have here about 5 leaves, and this will be our new Anubias plant. You can see that it has 5 leaves and a bit of roots, actually quite a lot of roots. If your Anubias has really long roots, like this is the case, you can trim them a bit like that. So it's ready to be planted. You have to remember when you're planting Anubias immersed to never cover its rhizome with soil. So rhizome is this, and it has to come out. It shouldn't be covered by soil. If you will, it will start decaying and it's not going to grow. So I'm going to just cover the roots with soil. Like so. Let's make the next bush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll cut it somewhere in here. So we now have 2 more plants. This is the side that uses to produce new leaves. And something like that. This part here, it has lots of roots, so we'll trim them a bit, like so. They will grow back later on. And I will try to plant it somewhere in here. It has really a lot of roots. Right, so this small one, I think I'll put it in this corner here, just to occupy it. Again, I want to make sure that its rhizome is not covered by soil, and this seems to be okay. Now let's deal with this bush here. We have here, so we'll make a cut somewhere. Also has really long roots. We'll be planting it somewhere here. If you haven't covered all the roots by soil, that's alright. As long as everything goes well and Anubis will start growing, it will kind of rearrange its own roots in the process. And here probably we would be able to have a couple of plants. It's of course easier if you work with Anubias nana because it's smaller and barter is larger. Right. It's really tightly planted in here, maybe a bit overpopulated, so I probably wouldn't advise you to plant that many plants all together, but there is a chance that some of them will not start growing, so we'll probably have to take them out and throw them away. And we have one last piece here, which has all sorts of roots growing in all sorts of directions, so I assume it will be hard to plant this one. Yeah, currently it looks quite messy, but as soon as they will hopefully start growing, it will look better, and I will probably move some of them into a larger container. I'll say one more word about the soil. So the soil should not be wet. It has to be damp and it has to be moistened, but it shouldn't be wet, because if it's wet everything will start decaying, and you have to keep on constantly keeping everything slightly dampen, like so. You will need to spray this Anubias once per day or twice per day every day, and the other important thing is a tight lid, tight fitting lid. A cover glass would be great, but I don't have a cover glass that will perfectly cover this whole tank, so I will use this cling film to cover this tank. You need to make sure that no air gets inside and it's kind of all well sealed, like so. Yes, every day I will have to open it up in order to spray it. So for lighting, you could use artificial lights and that would be absolutely amazing, but I will try to use natural light from the window. It shouldn't be direct sunlight, but we're not going to get direct sunlight here in winter, so we're just going to get some daylight. And we'll see how it works. I'll put it on the windowsill and yeah, I'll keep you updated on what happens with this project. I'm really hoping that they will start growing in this condition. If not, then yeah, probably I'm doing something wrong. So I hope you liked this video. Leave your comments about your own experiences of growing Anubias or other aquatic plants immersed, and let's see what happens with this project. So I'll see you in further videos.